Hello, we're back again. Trek Gray, remember us? Remember this face? Remember that face? He's back. Um, we are. We're going to start off with Lord X again. Of course, we are. We're a bit late because of a few things. I was at a gaming festival for a little bit. Grace had some personal stuff. He's slowly but surely coming his normal self again. So we'll probably see him for the most part going forwards. But as always, if there's an odd time he can't make it, always give him the chance. So, is it good to be back, Gray, or not? Are you
Yeah.
dreading it?
Yeah, no. I love this stuff, so I miss it. I want to be a part of it, so it's all cool.
Yeah, we do like talking Star Trek. To be fair,
We like
so it was a
we
dual
like
ep.
talking about anything, but Trek in particular.
Are you trying to say we talk crap, Gray? Is that what's going on
We
here?
talk good crap, bad crap, mediocre crap.
We
Whatever.
would normally just discuss this kind of thing anyway, even if we weren't recording. So we thought we may as well just record it because it's supposed
Yeah,
to be just two friends talking about Star Trek in a slightly more structured format. So anyway,
yeah.
um, so they dropped two episodes. For those that don't know, I think the majority of people will know. Um, do you like it when they do that, Gray? I kind of don't like it when they do that because then I like it spread out the way it is. We'll have one less week of Trek at the end now.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think dropping two is. I understand why they do it because they're trying to give you a double dose, and it's an extra little promotion to get people excited.
Yeah.
But I'd rather just go week to week. If that's what they're gonna do, then do it. Or if you're gonna do binge, then just drop them all. But make up
Uh,
your mind, one at a time, or drop them all.
I don't think that would. Netflix tried that and it didn't properly work because it worked for a while, but then they realised,
No,
oh,
no,
minute, people
Netflix.
just change their subs or cancel them because my program's finished now. Like that.
Yeah, but to be honest, Netflix is for them anyway. They perfected the binge thing, so it's expected from them. And for the most part, they still binge everything. The only
Hmm.
time they split it up a little bit is like when they did The Witcher. They did 4 episodes and then another 4 episodes later to
Yeah,
get
yeah, yeah.
funny.
That's true. That's true.
Semi binging
I,
or some garbage.
Paramount want to keep people about for as long as possible because unfortunately Paramount isn't one of the it's not in the top two or three streaming services in the world, so
Yeah.
they're spread
They
out.
do have
So
some good. I mean, they do have good shows. Well, they got Star Trek, so that's a plus. But they also have some other good shows I've been picking up on. So
yeah, yeah.
hopefully they stick around. But yeah, streaming is getting weird.
I'll hopefully be back. Let's say we do a GGR program with Grace. That's what we can plug just now. So
We
of
just
course,
started doing it for 30 seconds.
yeah, we kind of did a little bit. That's a preview. No, so of course you can find us in anywhere apart from as well as YouTube for audio podcasts or wherever you find them, and on Twitter at Trekway as well. But Gray, I do a pod with Gray called Gray's Green Room, the GGR, which is on all the same usual places, YouTube and all the audio podcasts and platforms, and on Twitter at GGR as well. And you can find. We'll be back soon. Let's say Gray's been going through personal stuff, which is coming to a head at the moment. He's getting better with things, so we will be picking up more of a regular situation, and we enjoy it. We enjoy all the podcasts we do. So that little preview, we talk sci-fi in there as well. Sometimes even a little bit of Trek.
Kinds of stuff.
Um, and don't
But we
forget,
do know, but
Mhm.
we do know what show is really on right now.
I don't have my mug this time. I don't drink tea or coffee. Um, but saying that, I should start using my mugs more, even if it's just for alcohol.
It's okay.
Um,
I got you the mugs, but you don't have to use them.
I just have them in display instead. Actually, I think that's the more important thing. And yeah, don't forget our colleague and friend Nick. We do a gaming podcast with him, Extreme PC UK. That you could that's where we're on the Discord section under the entertainment part where we talk things about Star Trek. You just search for Extreme PC UK, you'll find him there. And on I don't think he's going to do YouTube anymore going forwards, but certainly in all the audio podcasts and platforms are on Twitch. You can be found there as well. If you like games, we talk about games there. So anyway, we will get in there and kick off. So we double bill. The first episode was this is season 4 now, which is mad to believe, Gray. We
Yeah.
are actually that far into Lower Decks. You
I
didn't
didn't I
like
didn't
Lower
really
Decks as much at the start.
I didn't think Lower Decks was going to make it to 4 seasons. I figured it'd probably go tops 3 originally. But it's still there.
You
So
didn't you
hey,
didn't like it as much at the start. I'm not saying you point blank said you disliked it, but you it wasn't one of your favorite shows. Am I
no,
wrong?
I mean, I mean, it's grown on me. I'll say that much. But I just not. I guess I just don't prefer a comedy show about Star Trek. I don't mind a parody because they have a lot of parodies on the internet, some good, some terrible.
Mm,
But this is kind of like a parody every week, and I'm like, kind of like, so I can only go so far with it. But
true. It's
saying
funny.
that,
It's funny as hell.
saying that though, the show has grown on me. I'm not ready to say it's my favorite,
Of
but
course
it's
not.
not my worst either. Picard season 1 and 2 is the worst, but um, and so I've gotten to so it's kind of grown on me, and I kind of enjoy the humorous part of it. Now that it's kind of like there.
He's not over Picard yet. I don't think he ever will be. Neither am I. Nor should we.
Who would be? Who in their right mind would like season 1 and 2 of Picard? Come on.
Season 3 just saved it from being a total disaster.
They should just retcon 1 and 2 out of existence and just call it,
Star Trek Picard, and that was
Picard.
one season.
Picard ran only one season, and
Yeah.
it was that
We deleted the rest of it.
one. Right.
Yeah, no, listen, it is becoming a lot better, Lower Decks, and I just like the humour aspect. I often find myself chuckling very hard at that one. And when he done the crossover with Strange New Worlds, my mind went blank. Been a long weekend. Then it was briefly mentioned here in this episode, and it was absolutely brilliant there. So anyway, this was Twovik's episode. You might recognise that from Star Trek Voyager. There's a bit of a hint of where things are going. And one of the first things we see, Gray, literally within a moment or two on screen, is the fact that the Cerritos has to escort the OG Voyager, no bloody A, B, or C, the original Voyager, back to, I guess it's going to be taken to Earth ultimately for display for a while. And
Well, I'm assuming if of course this is assuming that you watched or the people out there watched a Picard season 3, but the
well,
museum was
yeah,
already in season 3, so
this
I
is
guess
just
on the
after they
time.
have arrived home. Not long after they've arrived home, maybe
Right,
weeks or a couple
exactly.
of months.
Right. So there's before they got to the space museum, they're getting it ready for the space museum, and now it's on its way.
There's like 20, is it like 20, 30 years, 20 years between Prodigy and Star Trek Picard, something like that. Because
I don't know if it's that long, but yeah, it's definitely more in the
okay,
future.
because they had the whole war thing with the Romulans and whatnot, well,
Yeah.
not the war, the relocation and the Mars attack and all that stuff. Um,
Right.
so at this stage here, my understanding is that Voyager is not long home, as we say, before it goes into the Fleet Museum, and it's getting itself ready because you see it on its own power going to warp at one stage, and it's all powered up and
Yeah.
whatnot. So it makes sense because it's in the right time
Yeah.
frame. This series, so. The curator, the guy looking after the ship that will finally turn it into its museum piece, is sitting on the captain's chair in Voyager, which was I liked that, so it's cool. And it will be initially outside San Francisco Starfleet HQ, on the lawn, so to speak, before it gets put into its museum place. We do. Mariner freaks out a little bit here, trying to pretend it's for Boimler, but she's actually the one that's freaking out and geeking out a bit on the bridge where they see the Voyager for the first time. And we get a decent bit of the Voyager OG music, don't we, Great? And are they not in one of the, what did they call them? My mind's a blank with the ship sitting in not the fleet yard,
Space
the
dock.
Facebook.
Space dock.
Thank you. Mine's absolutely screwed. Long weekend at Insomnia,
That,
guys.
that I-71 really did it to you.
It did. Like it was a cracking weekend, but that's not a conversation for now. Yeah, it was sitting in there with the OG music. We never quite got the full thing, but it wasn't. Remember before, Gray? They would.
We did later though.
Yeah,
I
but
noticed they had like a type of the music. It was there,
a
and then
shortened
later there was
version.
one scene. I don't remember what the scene it was, but there was one scene where they actually played the real theme for
Yeah,
like 10 seconds.
It's not like a cut, isn't it? Remember what in previous seasons they were doing like teases to this kind of thing, and they would cut it down. I don't know if that was Prodigy or this. They would just make it like a lot smaller and almost make their own version of it. I hated that. Just great to see. I mean, I love Voyager. It's my favourite series. I'm a bit biased. I grew up with that one. I love the concept of it. It deserves its special place in history for me because of the fact that there were 70,000 light years away and they managed to get home in 7 years, picked up all this technology, and this is part of the reason it's getting taken back. They have taken off the important stuff, but they're going to now take it back and turn it into a museum and take the other things away. So all the things like the Borg stuff has been taken away, the important Borg stuff anyway. The other bits and bobs, I'm trying to think. That was the one that the not Slipstream, the propulsion method that B'Elanna Torres kind of invents. Do you remember that one from Star Trek Voyager season 5, Timeless?
I thought it was Slipstream, but maybe it was something different. I forget now.
Slipstream.
I don't remember.
Anyway, we forgot this last time it came back to us. They're taking all the important stuff there, but there's still some things left there that they need to prepare. And the curator is a kind of funny guy because he doesn't want anyone touching anything really in the ship, but this is the lower decks crew, and they kind of make an arse of things and break things and touch things. So, and that's what happens pretty much here. So Gray's happy to see the Voyager again. So am I. We are seeing a lot of the inside of the ship, which they couldn't do if this was live action, Gray, of course, because of money. But because it's animated, it's 6.5, isn't it?
Well, the sets have all been destroyed, most likely. So,
well, it's not Picard season 3 where they literally build a couple of them again from scratch because the budget. And as we said before, it seems like the Voyager isn't that long back from the Delta Quadrant, just judging by how everything is functioning pretty well. We have Billups, the Starfleet, the Cerritos main engineer, chief engineer, and Tiana, who's one of Gray and I's favourite characters.
Dr. Cat.
Dr. Cat, is he called Dr. Cat? This bit coming up is pretty amusing. They're offered a transporter ride back to the Cerritos because everything's still working at this stage, so why not? But as Tendi is walking along with like all these specimens, these like biological specimens and plants and stuff, to take back to Cerritos, a little petal of a flower escapes and finds its way into the ducts, the air duct system, finds its way onto the transporter pad just as those two are literally beaming across, and then something goes wrong and the two of them are merged into one. And the first thing we hear the guy that plays Billups, so he's now trying to do a Tiana impression, which was, if you're a voice actor, Gray, that's a nice challenge. And the first thing you hear is, what the beep?
Starts doing the usual cussing, yes, that Tiana does.
They've merged, the two of them. Yeah. Your spelling of Boims is interesting here, Gray. Very interesting.
Boims?
Yeah. Is it not Boims? Anyway.
That's true. I could have done that.
I missed this. You picked it up. Kudos to you, Gray. The Pike incident was mentioned that I totally forgot about. Remember that?
Yeah, because they got all they were getting excited about Voyager and all this stuff, and so Mariner tells Boims, and he goes like, "Yeah, but it wasn't as exciting as the Pike thing. We're not supposed to talk about."
I missed that. I should probably watch them twice, but then again, I'd be watching episodes and writing notes for a long time. Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that, mate, because that was supposed to. We were told that was going to be mentioned briefly in this season, and they're not allowed to talk about it because of Starfleet rules. I don't know. So yeah, it was pretty interesting to see this concept of Twoviks come about again, and I was expecting to see more humour from the actor that voices Billups. That's what brought it down a little bit for me when we get to the end of the episode and review. There was so much golden potential there, Gray, of this actor.
I was waiting for it. They blew that whole scene. I was waiting for it. I'm going like, oh, this could be great, and then that's it. They didn't say anything anymore. Like,
Why?
uh,
Anyway, it's not a bad episode, far from it. Also, as well, this was a perfect opportunity to bring in other tropes from Voyager, not just that one. So that was a good thing,
right.
because next, the macroviruses are back. Remember them? That was one of my favourite, that's in my top 10 favourite Voyager episodes. These tiny macroviruses that keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where they're just going round. They're like the size of people going round, literally just taking everyone out. But they start mutating like nuts. I don't even know how they escaped. Everyone's immune now. They mention that, great. Everyone's immune. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Not again. Not again. They have to control them though, because they're going everywhere, and the curator needs this ship under his control, and it's the lower decks are literally wreaking havoc because that's what they do. That's their thing. There was a funny comment from Shax when he asked Teleps, as they're now called, right? The both of them are together. Yeah. That's their nickname now, Teleps. How many personal memories they have, right? And Gray mentions here he wanted Teleps to say something there, but got nothing.
Why? Yeah, a golden opportunity lost.
Oh, that's what brings it down. That would could have been genius.
I could have thought of so many things. They could have referred back to all their crazy antics that they've been doing in the holodeck.
He could have went, "Oh, I remember, we remember," or something. Even just something like that, you know, winky eye. Ugh, that's a damn shame. Anyway, but yeah, the Teleps wasted potential down the drain. Now there's more madness. The holodeck programs all start merging. After the macrovirus goo, as I'm calling it, gets in the system, and all the classics there, the one where Harry Kim's trapped by these like clown type creatures that they literally prey upon you. You're in hibernation, and they prey upon your emotions and fears to fuel them. That episode there, I can't remember the name of it, but that was in there. You had Captain Chaotica in there, which is a classic Voyager bad guy, or trope of a bad guy.
Wasn't the one that was like, that was, I think Captain Chaotica was the Flash Gordon kind of...
Yeah, rip-off.
Villain guy, villain kind of guy. Like, that was great with the ray gun.
And they put it in black and white, and it's
black and white.
I remember at one point they tried to get 7 and 9 into that. They brought 7 and 9 to that. Like, you've got to be the hero there, and she just walks up all Borg-like and pulls these cables and takes them offline. Oh, what did you do, 7? I saved the day, did it not? Like, you know, oh god. Improvise women. So yeah, it was. This bit's good that they're bringing back these Voyager type, and they're really liking. Some people were saying there's too much Voyager stuff in this, in Lower Decks, that they keep bringing back, because I've done it a few times. Of course, I'm going to disagree with that. I'm biased. They done it with Deep Space Nine. Is Next Gen? Yeah, Next Gen's been in it with, with Riker and whatnot. So no, they are covering all the main shows. You're just doing Voyager a little bit more. It's fine. So yeah, all the classic holograms are back from the Voyager days. The wreaking havoc. The the macrovirus has now been Borgified. I don't know if you noticed that. At least one of them, Grey, was kind of crawling along there with a little Borg implant on it.
Yeah,
a bit bonkers. And I'm remembering how nuts Lower Decks was, because it's been off the show for a little while. These little things that you miss, I missed the thing Ray mentioned about the Pike thing. If you guys saw any little bits and bobs that we missed, little funny tropes, put them in. Because there's so many things they do. We had a Salamander Borg hybrid. I noticed that as well. That literally crossed past the Salamander.
That was a bad episode in Voyager.
It was, but it had so much potential, mate. They made an arse of that. It was getting to warp 10, and the fact that you're everywhere at once at the same time in the universe, that would have been plausible, believable. But then they should have just not done the whole Salamander and having captain babies. Should have never done that part. That just ruined it.
No, it was awful. Yeah.
You could have turned into a Q for an episode or something. I don't know. Just make it more. But yeah, so we see this little Salamander hybrid Borg who's going past from the Warp 10 episode. Now, the thing is, they need to try and separate Tuvik's or Teleps, sorry, should I say? But
Yes.
you remember what happened first time around? The Tuvik's character was ultimately killed. There
Right.
wasn't a way around that. They couldn't separate it, and it's a very ethical question, and that's what Star Trek's good at, Gray, bringing up the ethical points. And they knew on lower decks what was going to happen to this character, and so did Tilps found out as well. He found out Tuvix was killed, so he takes hostages of his own for some more combos, some more hybrids, as I'm calling them here. He wants to make a Tuvix army and take over the ship.
Take over the ship, right?
Some of
The
them,
problem is the dual personalities are kind of like getting in the way.
yeah. This is it's maybe getting a bit too nuts for it to handle lower decks. Actually,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, some of them this is the highlight of the episode for me. I was watching this at the gaming event I was telling you about. I actually watched this down in Birmingham, England, and I actually stopped gaming for a bit. Watched these 2 episodes, done my notes on them. And there's people around me playing games, and here's me just playing Star Trek Lower Decks. And then this scene comes up here, and you see some of the first combos, and I'm like, what the actual FUCK? There is a combo of an officer and one of the dolphins from Cetacean Ops. And he's kind of, I want a fish. Just standing there like this.
Yeah.
I burst out laughing loud. I was
I thought I was in. I thought I was in a SpongeBob episode. That's what it seemed like at that point. It's like SpongeBob, yeah.
never seen SpongeBob, but I know of it. Yeah, that for me is the highlight of the whole bloody episode. That was just so silly. It was sorry.
I think in the end, would they have like 4 different? I think he made 4 different hybrids or something. I forget.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. Something like that before the big combo comes along. It was actually Mariner's idea for Boimler to get a promotion. It turns out because he's up for promotion at the start of the episode. That's what Jack Ransom tells him. Like, don't mess up. A promotion's on the cards for you soon, and he's like, this is the Cerritos. Something always goes wrong. Sorry. He's right. Yeah, something will always go wrong. But, have faith and all that. And he's not so sure, that this is the right thing for him, Gray. He remembers was it the first season or second season where he gets promotion to the Titan with Riker. And every time they went back to Boimler on the Titan, it was just him screaming like a little girl and then Riker with a big cheesy grin on his face because he's doing Riker things, heroic, going in, saving the day. Boimler's on the bridge just shitting his pants all the time. He doesn't want this again. He wants to be with his pals. That's the vibe I was getting from this.
Yeah, definitely.
And poor Mariner this time is actually kind of stuck to the bulkhead or to the corridor side with the macrovirus goo. She can't move. He's trying to free her. And then that's when she admits it was her suggestion to Ransom for promotion because he deserves it. And it turns out Ransom actually overhears this going on as well, which was pretty sweet. So a little bit of a serious moment for the guys for once. Now, there is an annoying Vulcan officer who has been this before, Gray, but she's not a regular. T'Lyn, her name is, and I don't like her. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I do like her though. She's a semi-regular. But I like her. I like her because she has this very bizarre wry kind of Vulcan humor, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. Or maybe too strict Vulcan humor, which makes it even funnier. So I kind of like the character. She just kind of like
fair enough.
Just trying to make sense of everything.
Fair enough. Proper hardcore Vulcan, no half human, half Vulcan nonsense. She her name's T'Lyn, like I say. She has an idea to transport all the hybrids together. Don't know why she had this idea. And it transports them into one big massive blob. Now, there was an ethical debate here before between her and Tindy. Should we do this? Because we'd end up, you're going to end up potentially killing them all. But then she's okay with this because when she sees the blob, it's just a big bloody mess in the transporter pad. It looks like a giant meatball.
The blob looked pretty good.
Yeah, it was like
It's
arms
the leg
and
of
stuff.
one character, and arm of another. It was like, okay.
Face here and half a face there. It was a mess. So there wasn't any sentience there as such, really. So I think she was okay with that. So yeah, it was a big massive blob. But the other thing was the holograms at this stage have taken control of Voyager. Where have we seen that before? And they start directing the ship towards the Borg. And I'm like, oh, yes, here we go, man.
Borg cube.
Here we go, baby. This is it. See the potential they could have had here with more humor for the Teleps hybrid and the Borg stuff there, and they didn't do it. But we don't get to see them as Boimler.
I think that was a whole nother missed opportunity because if they had gotten to the cube, what it would have been funny is that they accidentally let the blob creatures go or whatever, and they would stick to the Borg cube, and all of a sudden start making them weird. That would have, and then they could have just left the scene, and you just see the Borg going like, "Whoa, what's going on?"
Yes.
I mean, I was waiting for that. I was sitting there going like, "Oh, this is gonna be funny," and they still don't do it. And I'm like,
wasted opportunity. Yeah, no, maybe the writers are different from this season, Gray.
I don't know. We'll get to our ranking in a minute. That's part of the reason I downed it. But
yeah. I know. It's not quite the same, no, but we don't get to see that, as Gray mentions. We don't get to see the Borg stuff here. As Boimler and Rutherford sometimes I read ahead and I see what's there. They break Voyager, right, on purpose, because they're good at doing that. Not on purpose, so they have to do it on purpose this time. They're using some of Neelix's cheese.
And to gum up the works.
Yeah, they're going to gum up the works. Perfect. You couldn't have said it any better, Gray. They're going to fry the circuits, so to speak, and that will bring it under control. And if you've seen some of Neelix's food, oh yeah, it can do that. It brings a tear, a glass eye. So yeah, we see, getting nearly towards the end of this episode, we see a very cool shot, finally now, of Voyager sitting outside Starfleet HQ in San Francisco Bay on Earth, and at this time, Gray, this is the proper music you mentioned.
Right.
You get exactly. It there, at least 10 seconds or 15 seconds. And I'm just noting here, I'm really giddy at this stage here. So's Gray. We see a bit of proper Voyager history here, and no one's trying to mess it up. And I've spelt Boyms wrong here as well, Gray, so I look like a bit of a mug. He gets his promotion finally to Lieutenant Junior grade. That's what they were all going for. But also along with T'Lyn and Tendi, which is nice. And Beckett gets one. Just as they're about to finish and walk away, the Ransom's like, it was Freeman actually goes, and Beckett, well, you're on one as well. And this surprises everyone, including her. She's like, hey, what? Nah, you got the wrong person. This is not really what it's supposed to be about. She doesn't want it. She's point blank kind of refusing at this stage, Greg, because this is who she is. But Ransom just ignores her and then starts working out. Literally, much as she goes to question later on in his quarters, he's like, nah, you deserve it, whatever, I see what you're trying to do here, and then starts working out on a bar. As he does in his quarters. You imagine that. First officer on the starships get a bloody pull-up bar in his quarters. What?
There was a whole thing, too, with Rutherford, because he wasn't getting promoted. And then there was a scene in the thing where apparently he's done a lot of cool stuff. And then we find out that he's been turning down his own promotions. Remember that?
Yeah.
And there was like, I'm like, what? But then what was funny, there was a good scene where I think it was, I don't remember who it was, or was it Tendi? I think it was Tendi.
Yeah.
And Tendi goes to the chief engineer and says, well, you should, promote him for the blah, blah, blah that he did. And he goes, oh, yeah, okay. And he goes,
yeah.
And he goes,
was that not the next episode?
Oh, was it? Oops.
Yeah, it is.
Well, we'll be seeing that in the next episode.
Yeah,
that's a premiere.
Yeah, because you get at the start. What you get is you get a section where Tendi says, "Oh, sorry, you never got one. You never got a what's wrong, guy?
A pip, actually. It wasn't. It would the thing that they got on their collars was actually called a pip. It's not the full filled in one.
Oh yeah, that's like the half. That's like the small
You
upgrade,
get
isn't
the
it?
one that's not filled in.
Yeah,
That's the pip. That's like why it's a lieutenant, whatever it was,
proper
first grade.
lieutenant. Proper lieutenant.
Right.
Yeah.
Proper would get two filled in.
Yeah. No, Gray's right. That does come up when we're doing the review for that one right after. These are shorter reviews for obvious reasons, shorter episodes.
They're kind of meshing together, man. It's just like.
Yeah, I mean, because we've done the notes of them together as well. Like they're so they're literally on the same pages here. But no, that does come up after when we discuss it. Because at the end of that first episode, Tindy's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Rutherford." He's, "It's fine, whatever." He's not fussed about that kind of thing. That leads into the second episode, which was pretty cool. So yeah, pretty much wrapping it up there. What we see at the last scene is a bit weird, but obviously it's going somewhere because it repeats itself. And you think you need context. We get some context. Second episode, we finish off with bird of prey, Klingon bird of prey in Klingon space. We see two Klingons and some flirting. You know this whole thing where they flirt with each other, and if the guy's been super aggressive back, she turns around, stops being aggressive, is like, "Would you like to go to dinner now?" What? You imagine that happened here? Like, people done that kind of thing. Camera, come back. Bit random, but a random ship pops up out of the blue. I've never seen anything. It's never ever seen this design of starship ever, Grey. Out of the blue.
I would say one thing. It looked a little bit like a Delta Flyer. Remember the Delta Flyer? Voyager?
Yes, but it was standing upright, and then when it went to firing position, it kind of came down like that. Yeah, some similarities there. Yeah.
I don't know if there's a link there, but it did look a little like the Delta Flyer. So,
well, if there is a link here, I'd love to know what that link is about, because it literally then just takes out the Klingon bird of prey in one go, like super beam just nukes the thing. So that's one souped up Delta Flyer, if that is generally where it's going. But Gray mentioned here, you thought it was a very strange way to end the episode, and you're hoping, like me, that they go somewhere with it.
Right. And I just thought it was odd because it is a comedy when it gets down to it. Yeah. So they end it with more of a lethal thing than a comedy thing. And I was kind of like, it just didn't jive with all the funny stuff. I'm sitting there going like, why would they have to go through all that? I could have had a strange ship, but it didn't necessarily have to, take them all out per se. I don't know. I thought it was a little much. I didn't understand why they went that way. To be honest.
Yeah, well, excuse me. This is what takes us on to our scores, and we'll explain maybe why it wasn't as high as it was. Gray, what did you give this out of 10 and why?
I went with a 7 out of 10, and for a couple of reasons. One, I gave it a 7 because of Voyager, so I would have probably gone with a 6. And the reason I went with a 6, not that I'm trying to down it too much, but there was a missed opportunities, like we just said, two fantastic opportunities for some real humor, like you and I just talked about, and they didn't even bother. And I'm sitting there going like, man, you were handed something. Billups could have said some really funny stuff. They could have done some funny stuff with the Borg cube, and they just didn't bother. And I'm just like, man. So that really got me kind of tiffed. And the other thing was, even though some of the humor was funny, it almost seemed to be like almost like kind of like forced humor, because everything was like on a domino effect.
Yeah.
Through the whole episode, it was like this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, and everything happened like dominoes.
Yeah. And
because of that, everything was happening so fast that you really didn't get a chance to like pay attention to some of the humor. So it's kind of like I felt that the humor or the writing of the humor was weak because of the episode going so quickly. Yeah. In that domino manner, and so I couldn't really go much higher than that.
Yeah, respect that. I was often, I've said this before, sometimes once I've read through the notes and Gray's notes and see his score and reason why, it changes my score sometimes, not always, and it did in this situation. I was maybe a bit too blinded by the Voyager stuff, but putting it originally a 9 out of 10, I just tweaked it down a little bit to 8 out of 10 for very similar reasons to Gray. So much potential there that wasn't used. This could have easily been a 9 or actual 10 out of 10. Like, think of the Deep Space Nine episode. Gray and I both gave that 10 out of 10. Why? Because it was funny. It was homage to Deep Space Nine. There was actually Deep Space Nine characters in it, and they had a very good story. There was nothing wrong with that episode at all, was there, Grace? So that's
I
what
mean,
gives it
what
10 out
would
of
have
10.
been right. What would have been nice is they didn't do so much domino effect stuff, and it would have been nice if they could have brought somebody back from the Voyager crew, maybe to be on there. You know, obviously Janeway or the actress is tied up with the Prodigy thing. Da da da. Okay, fine, but I mean, there's other things they could have done. They could have brought back the Doctor hologram. They could have had some other cast member that's around. You know, maybe still be there. And yet none of that happened. So that was disappointing too. Like I was waiting to see a cameo from one of the cast members, and nothing.
Yeah, it was the Voyager stuff that kind of saved the episode, really, for being just very average at best. Not a bad episode, just missed potential, I think is what we're saying, rather than anything. What we saw wasn't bad, it's just, here's what you could have added onto that. And I'm just thinking the writers have changed somewhat, because last season was bloody gold. We were just in tears half the time watching this. And on our reviews, we'd often be pissing ourselves laughing, discussing it. So it's a shame, but not bad. All I could think about the Voyager stuff, Voyager crew member being on board, Gray, was this literally must have been after a few weeks after it arrived. Probably a couple of months at the most, I think, after it arrived from the Delta Quadrant, because they're probably all on extended shore leave, seeing friends and family before they do anything, and none of them want to come back. Harry Kim could have, so he could get a bloody promotion. Finally.
Yeah, that would have been kind of, that would have been kind of cool, actually. You could have had the promotion.
Being promoted in lower decks for a Voyager program. Yeah.
See?
Go on. Yeah.
More missed opportunities we're coming up with.
I know. We'll stop before we end up ripping at a new one, great. So yeah, we're literally going to do these reviews back to back, but separate them in the middle because, well, just timing and whatnot. Thank you very much for tuning along, guys. We'll be back for the next episode right after. But till the next time, Gray, do your thing, my man.
Long and prosper, everybody.
See you later, guys. Bye-bye.